Okay, so imagine a place where the soil under your feet isn't just, well, dirt. Imagine it's your entire identity. It's your family's history, and it's the only future you can see. That's exactly the world we're stepping into today with Abdel Rahman al-Sharqawi's 1954 masterpiece, Egyptian Earth. And let me tell you, this isn't just the story of some remote village back in the 1930s. It's really the story of a whole nation, teetering on the brink of massive change. And this one line from a villager named Abdul Hadi, it just gets right to the absolute heart of it all. For the Egyptian peasants, the fellahin as they're called, the land isn't a commodity. It's not something you just own or farm. It is a living, breathing part of who you are. It's where you come from, it's your present, it's everything. You know, what made this novel so groundbreaking at the time was its perspective. See, before this, stories about peasant life were usually told by city people looking in from the outside. But al-Sharqawi completely flips the script. He puts us right there, inside the village, seeing the world through their eyes, feeling their struggles firsthand. It was a total game changer. So let's go. Let's step into this world of Earth, this village that feels less like a setting and more like a living, breathing character in its own right. And the people at the center of our story are the fellahin. It's the Arabic word for the farmers, the laborers, basically the community's backbone. Their entire lives just revolve around the cycles of the earth. And right in the middle of all the village drama, we meet Waseefa. She's the main female character, and she is anything but your typical quiet village girl. From a young age, she is fiery, she's independent, and she is absolutely 100% defiant. We get to see this world through the eyes of our narrator and his childhood friendship with Waseefa. They have these innocent games of playing marriage by the canal, but that clashes head-on with the strict, harsh rules of the elders. When the village's religious leader, Sheikh Hassouna, finds them, he sees sin where they just see play. And right there, that's our first taste of a much bigger conflict to come, this collision between natural human innocence and rigid outside authority. And that conflict, well, it doesn't stay small for long. Pretty soon, the shadow of the government starts to loom over the village, and their quiet, insulated world begins to crack under all this pressure from the outside. To really get what the village is up against, you have to understand the times. We're talking about the 1930s in Egypt, and it was a period of absolute crisis. You've got a dictatorial government that had just suspended the constitution, the global cotton market had totally collapsed, and farmers everywhere were just drowning in debt. This huge national chaos becomes the backdrop for a very, very personal struggle for survival. And this right here, this comparison, it just perfectly illustrates the central fight. The government decides it's going to slash the village's water supply, which, of course, threatens their crops, their livelihoods, their very lives. To the fellahin, water is a natural right. It's like the sun or the air. But to the government, it's just a tool of control. So this isn't just about resources, it's a fundamental clash of worldviews. And as if the water crisis wasn't devastating enough, a second threat emerges. The government announces a plan to build a new highway, and the proposed route cuts directly through the peasants' most fertile land, seizing the very earth that gives them life. Okay, so now they're pushed to the absolute limit, and they don't just accept their fate, they start to fight back, and in doing so, they reveal this incredible, deep well of solidarity and defiance. Their resistance doesn't just explode out of nowhere, it escalates. First, they try the formal route. The educated schoolmaster writes a fancy petition. When that predictably fails, they take matters into their own hands, sneaking out at night to water their fields. Then, the women lead a public protest. And finally, in a brilliant move, they hijack a staged political rally, turning it into a powerful protest of their own. You know, that moment with the petition is so telling. It's this incredible act of collective hope. You have all these villagers, most of whom can't read or write, gathered around the schoolmaster. They're signing with their thumbprints, with their personal seals. There's this sense of ceremony, of unity, a real belief that maybe, just maybe, their voices put down on paper might actually matter. But this isn't just a political story, not by a long shot. Woven all through this larger struggle is the narrator's own very intimate coming-of-age journey, and it perfectly mirrors the village's own awakening. So the narrator returns from his school in Cairo, and suddenly, he sees his childhood friend Waseefa in a completely different light. This quote just perfectly captures that dizzying, awkward, wonderful moment of adolescent awakening. All of a sudden, his own personal world is just as complicated and chaotic as the political one erupting all around him. And this brings up a huge question that the novel really wrestles with. How can you even think about pursuing personal dreams, or friendships, or love, when your entire community is fighting just to survive? Can your own individual happiness even exist in a world filled with collective oppression? In the end, the villagers face arrests, they're beaten, they lose their land. But the novel's final message isn't one of defeat, not at all. It's about a spirit that is absolutely unbreakable. You'd think that being beaten and thrown in jail would break them, but it actually does the exact opposite. It strengthens their connection to the land. They realize that their oppressors, these people from the city, could never, ever understand what the earth truly means to them, and their shared suffering only deepens their bond with each other and with the soil itself. So why is Egyptian earth still such an important piece of literature today? Well, because it really changed the game. It was a landmark that finally put the peasants' perspective front and center. It captured the rich, colorful beauty of their language. It was a powerful critique of a corrupt system. And maybe most importantly, it gave us this heroic, inspiring vision of what it looks like when people stand together against injustice. And we end on this really poignant question from the narrator. His father has just given him a hand-me-down suit, and in this one small, personal moment, the novel captures everything. It's his own little disappointment, mixed with this huge collective hope for his people. The struggle isn't over, the future is still uncertain. But that question itself, when and how, that's an act of faith. It's a belief that a better world is, somehow, still possible.